To session number 2 of the Land Profit Masterclass. I'm your host today, a co-host also. My name is Jack Bosch, and as if this is your very first session, you're in for a treat because we are going to show you, and we have started yesterday already. So if you haven't watched it yet, go look up. If you're in the Facebook group, go into the Facebook group, go up to the featured listings and featured posts, and look for the replay there. If you're not in the Facebook group, then make sure you reach out to one of our land experts. They can send you a link to an outside of Facebook replay page. But here's the thing, you're in for a treat because we're showing you a way that you can do real estate deals from home without ever dealing with tenants, toilets, and termites, without having to deal with sitting in smelly kitchens, no driving for dollars, none of the hassles that typically come with what you're used to hearing, which is house wholesaling, house flipping. But instead, you can do everything with this asset class that is land that you can do with houses, and you can do even much more in that asset class. And it's early. It's 2025. It's the year to start. It's the beginning of the year. It's the perfect time right now. By the way, something I didn't mention yesterday. It's the perfect time to actually also start this business because there's no seasonality to this business. But the point is, at the beginning of the year, a lot of people get their tax refunds and they're ready to, and the New Year's resolutions are so strong, they're ready to put that money to use. And often, what do they do with that money? They're going to put that money into investments. And yes, what is an investment that everyone wants to finally do? It's land. A lot of people want to finally invest in land, and they're doing this at the beginning of the year. At the same time, a lot of people make the New Year's resolution of like, I finally got to get rid of this property that just costing me property taxes, this property that's just sitting there doing nothing for me. So you have a lot of sellers willing to sell and a lot of buyers looking to buy. So it's the perfect time to start with. But here's the thing, I'm not alone here today. You see right next to me, you see my co-host, Mr. Stephen Young. He is actually one of our head partner coaches. And I want to quickly introduce Stephen, or actually I want to let Stephen introduce himself. He's been with us for many years. He is a full-time land flipper, and he helps also educate in our space and helps partner with students and give our students take the next generation of people to the next level in the land space. Stephen, welcome to session number 2, and why don't you give yourselves a quick introduction?
Perfect. Thank you, Jack. Glad to be here. Welcome, everyone. I started just like you all. I had no formal real estate background. I wanted to make a change in my life, and I was fortunate enough, I'm here based in Orlando, to attend a local RIA meetup here in Orlando, and, they were saying vacant land. I'm like, okay, sounds kind of interesting. I just happened to be in the back of the room, and I heard Jack speak that same thing all those years ago, no tenants, toilets, and termites. And I wanted that lifestyle. I wanted to have the ability to spend time with my kids. I wanted to change my career path. And so at that point, I hadn't done that yet, but I took a chance, right? I took a chance on myself, believed in myself, knew that if I worked hard and really locked in, and like you all are here today, learning and participating and playing full out, I knew that I could change, something about my life. And, we did that. Me and my wife did that together. And we started that back in 2017, and then we just hit the ground running. And now here I am today with the opportunity to give back to you all here and also those within the community where I am the head coach, get to work with those students and then also work with other coaches and make sure that we're, always looking for ways to continue to build up and educate, folks in this space. So very glad to be here with you today, Jack.
Wonderful. And Stephen, you focus a little bit on the higher end properties. Can you tell us quickly, typically, what is kind of the profits that you pull in from a deal? What's the highest deal and what's the kind of the lowest deals that you like to do?
Yeah, so my price range that I start is 50K, so 50K and up, right? So up to, a million or infinity, whatever number. So 50K is my minimum. My average profit per deal, our goal is 30K. If we get more than that, fantastic. But we typically work in those higher end deals because, we learned very early on that the amount of effort is, essentially the same. So the process flow that we learned here it works for the higher end properties as well. And I think we'll talk about a couple different strategies specifically that you'll need to do too. But you all can do it, and we recognize that very early.
Very, very much so. Very much so. So great. So guys, one thing that I want to do right now is I want to give you a quick here's what we're here to do. Who here is for their first where today is their first session? Right? Who has the first session for today? All right, let me quickly see where you guys, by the way, use the chat box. I'm looking at the chat box. I'm looking to see here. I see people say like, hey, hello from Cincinnati, from Philly. Like, okay, Natalie, it's your first session. Anson, it's your first session. Reginald, it's your first session. Okay, there's a whole bunch of people coming in saying their first session. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to just give you my 30-second update of what is it that we're talking about here. We're talking about a real estate strategy that's little known, right? That's little known, where you can basically buy, where we have figured out and perfected the strategy to find owners of pieces of land, meaning land, infill lots, pieces like basically in the city. So think about a street, 35 houses, a couple of empty lots, ready to be built on, ready to be sold to a builder, or properties in the outskirts of town in the path of growth that like a few hours, a few minutes or half an hour outside of town, 5 acres that you could live on, you can work from home, you can drive into the city when you need to go groceries or you need to want to go to a ball game or go to see your friends or have cocktails. But other than that, you have peace and quiet outside of town. I asked a question yesterday, who would love to be in that? Who would love to have something like that, 2 to 5 acres, 20, 30 minutes outside of town? And put it in the chat box. And again, who would love to have 2 to 5 acres in there? Give me a heck yes if that is you. And the third kind of property we typically focus on is those larger acreage, meaning your own mini ranch. Who would love to have your own mini ranch an hour, 2 hours away in the rolling hills, away from the city, where you can actually spend a week, 2 weeks at a time? Because today with solar and with Starlink, you actually don't have to be only making that a weekend getaway place. Because if you have Starlink and some solar panels, you can be fully operational, even in areas that you don't even have cell phone receptions. So that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of the 3 properties we're focusing on. And the beauty of that is that there's plenty of them. There's millions of them around. There's 46 million pieces of land in the United States. At any given time, 5 to 6% of them are ready to be, the owners just don't want them anymore. We'll talk about why in a second. And they're willing to give these properties away at way steeper discounts than house owners. Because the piece of land just sits there, it costs property taxes, they have to perhaps maintain it, they don't use it. It's just like dead money that's sitting there, and they just don't want it anymore. So in many cases, the people have passed away, the heirs have it, and now the heirs have to pay property taxes, and they don't for sure want it. So these people are often, these sellers are often willing to let these properties go for 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar. We typically say between 20 and 60 cents on the dollar that we get these deals from. And then we turn around and we sell them in 1 out of 3 strategies. Number 1, simple wholesale. Just mark it up from, if you get it for 30 cents on the dollar, mark it up to 60 cents on the dollar. So you get a $70,000 property for $20,000, mark it up to 45, sell it, make a $25,000 profit. Second way is that you do seller financing. You sell it very quickly. You get a $50,000 property for $10,000. You sell it for $50,000 with a $12,000 down payment. So you have more as a down payment than you actually pay for the property, which means you can actually structure the deal such that the buyer, you use the buyer's money to pay the seller. So you don't even need your own money in the transaction. I explained that yesterday, and I might explain it later on a little bit more. And the third way is that you can actually also take those properties and split the properties, develop the properties, entitle the properties, rezone the properties. You can do all kinds of things with land that you cannot do with houses. So these are typical 3 ways that we make money. That the first ways we talked about yesterday, we'll talk about today a little bit more. The third way we'll talking about on Thursday, but today is all about how to get those deals. So, right, so this is what we're talking about, but what I forgot yesterday is how to show you one aspect of how to select your areas. So with that said, let me quickly share my screen for just a second. And the thing, what we talked about yesterday was, we talked about how to be outside of a larger metropolitan area, like for example, Atlanta, Georgia. And we said like, you want to be outside. So one way is to be in Atlanta. That's the infill lots. So ready to be filled in with houses. Those are great. One of our former students is doing, last year sold 73 lots to a builder, to the same builder. So you get these lots for 80K, sell them for 100K, 73 times $20,000 is $1.4 million in profits. Anyone okay with that? Selling some infill lots, having basically to the same seller. So you have no effort on the selling side. They give you what they want, they give you the criteria that they want. You go find them lots, and we'll talk to you today about how to find those lots, and you sell them to them. Anyone okay with that? Give me a heck yes if you're okay with a $1.4 million profits by just simply finding what a builder is already looking for. And so the second way is going to the outskirts of the of the greater metropolitan area, but you want to be outside of the last development. So if you look at this is Atlanta. Atlanta moves out all the way to like around here. So if you want to be outside of that, we identified that Rome, Lindale area as a potential area that you can do deals. So now how do I know what area that is? Because I need to ideally know which county it is in. So very simply, I just pulled this up on Google. I look out there, I look on Google, I see like, yeah, that makes sense. This is all the city. This is all here. If I look at there, the city kind of ends here with all these different developments. And all of this is beautiful. It's a rural area where there's lots of 2 and 5 acre parcels. You're a little bit away from the city, but you're close to a city with like Rome, with grocery stores, with doctor's offices, movie theaters, all kinds of stuff, restaurants. But you're also close to Highway 41 and I-75, and boom, you're in the city in half an hour. So how do I find out what county that is? Very simply, I zoom out a little bit on Zoom, and then I simply do click. I click right here, and it tells me that I'm in Floyd County, Florida. Floyd County, Georgia. Fantastic. So now that I know that in Floyd County, Georgia, now all I need to do is I need to go to Zillow, and I need to go on Zillow. I need to say, over here I would go, let me open another instance of Zillow, and I say Floyd County, Georgia, or I just simply write it down. Floyd, where is Zillow? There we go here. I simply go enter it, Floyd County, and right there, Floyd County, Georgia. And what comes up under Floyd County, Georgia is now the county. I need to select what home type am I looking for. So I got to deselect here. I got to select land. Right? And I'm looking what's for sale, and I see there's 161 properties for sale. I see that I can also go, well, I see that this is just all around this town. Well, what if I want to be just a little bit further over? So while I click over here, and I can also see that this is Bartow County. So right now I already have 2 counties that I can operate in that fulfilled kind of my criteria, and that's what I didn't show you yesterday, how to actually select those counties. Right? Does that make sense, guys? Is that good information? Good. So with that said, let's grab our playbook. Again, if you do not have the playbook, please let us know. Put it in the chat box, or if you're on Facebook, but if you're watching the stream on Facebook, put it into Facebook, and our team is going to drop a link to the playbook in here. So if you need the playbook, there we go. Team's going to drop in. But let's talk about, let's say you have selected the homework yesterday, which, by the way, we gave away a book bundle, so I'll announce the winner of the book bundle in just a second, but I want to advance a little bit with content. I want to make sure you guys get your value. You guys get exciting stuff here. So the guys, if you can make sure you drop a link to the playbook right here so people can download it, that would be fantastic, because I see a whole bunch of comments here. So, but let's talk right away. Let's jump right into how do we get a list of that? So we identified what we're looking for, right? Yesterday's handout, we gave you how to select these areas. We gave you the handout yesterday. If you don't have that, let us know. We'll drop that again, or watch yesterday's session. There's going to be there. We talked about properties that we want to have be between 30, like combination of rural and populated areas. We talked about that they're sold between $30 and $1 million. So the market value is $30,000 to $1 million. We talked about the 3 kinds of properties. We talked about sold value. So you've done that, and you've done a fantastic job. There's over, I think, 200 comments in yesterday's homework of people saying like, I want to choose these areas. This is how much I want to make. Here's why it is important. So thank you very much for that. You have done the first step towards towards creating momentum. Because the key here is, guys, the key in life is that you want to compound wins. So if you have done this homework yesterday, you have done a win. And you want to compound that win today. And today you want to know, well, now I selected these areas, how do I get the leads? And Steven, I'm going to hand over to you right now. How do you get leads? What are the ways that you can go out there and get leads?
Yeah, and one of the ways to do that is list brokers. So list brokers are, a variety of different third-party companies or title companies that are out there. And what they do is they plug into the county assessor's offices, and with a monthly fee, subscription fee, usually monthly or an annual fee, you can pull leads directly from those third-party vendors, essentially.
Exactly right. So yeah, so there's companies out there, and in the playbook, we even give you some links like landpropdata.com, like quicklanddata.com. There's basically, typically they work in one of two ways. You either pay them just per records, you pay them a fee, or you pay them a monthly subscription, and then with that monthly subscription, you get a certain amount of data that you can download, usually nationwide. And that's one way. So the second way is you can also go directly to the county. You can definitely go if you honed in, but that second way, by the way, I only recommend once you're a little bit further in, because once you kind of like identified your pot of gold, right? Once you identified an area, a county, a region, a subdivision, a neighborhood, or something where you can do deal after deal after deal after deal and and pop $30,000 a deal. In that moment, you can go to a data service and get all the data there, or you can now go to the county and say like, hey, county assessor, can you give me a list of all your records in your entire county? And then you can go after more and more of these records. The nice part about that is you get everything that that county has, every single piece of land, every single property. The downside is that usually this data comes non-formatted. So you usually need to take that data, go to upwork.com, find somebody that processes it for you and formats it for you, but you basically pay like $100 or so, and you get, sometimes in some counties you get 100,000 records, and you got forever to data to go after and pursue those people, pursue those records. But here's the thing, the county selection is so important. The reason why we ask you to get 5 to 8 counties is that sometimes you come across counties that look good on paper, but they don't perform. You come across counties that where everything looks fine, but for some reason you don't get really good deals accepted. Right? So that's why we want you to do at the beginning, we want you to do a test of different areas. But also I'm going to share with you later on, who would like to skip the test and go straight into deals? Give me a heck yes. Who would like to skip the deal? Now, guess what? Like, if you're part of our inner circle, you can do that. And but the thing is, like, there's ways that you can do that. Right? So the thing is but usually you pick these because if you pick the right county, and then you have the right county, you send out the right, you do the right marketing, which we're going to cover in about 5 minutes, and then you get the right responses, you make the right offers. Now your deal flow, your deals, you have tons of deals, you make tons of money, and then when you can go into the second strategy and actually just get it directly from the county, because you have proven this is a great county, this is a pot of gold, this is the fountain of gold here, let me go get more things. But there's a third way. And that's the easy button. Who would love to have access to the easy button, guys? Who would like to use the easy button? Give me a heck yes. And I know, heck yes, and one of these days I'm going to wear my heck yes t-shirt. So, but the thing is, my team even made a t-shirt for me, heck yes, because that's my favorite thing to say. But the easy button, and the easy button is, we have a CRM. And for example, you want to be able to use the best data services that are out there in a way that's already simplified for you. And Steven, why don't you give us a quick demo about how that works?
Totally, I will, certainly. All right.
Where you can, like a CRM, while you pull this up, a CRM where you can manage all your leads, where you can send out direct mail or marketing to sellers, where you can make offers and run comps, where you can create listings, where you can manage buyer leads, and where you have buying and selling website attached. Would that be something useful to have as this business, as a full-blown organization tool? Well, Steven, go ahead and show us a little bit of how you can get leads in a literally 1, 2, 3 kind of way over here.
Sure, definitely. And so hopefully everybody can see my screen. This is that CRM that Jack was just talking about. It's called the Investment Dominator. And here, as you can see, it'll let you do everything from A to Z. All the things that you guys have been talking about, going to talk about into the future, it can be done all in this one system. And so right now, we're just going to focus on just simply pulling the leads. So we can go, there's a couple ways to get there. We can go here to the drop down, find deals, or we can select this button that's right here in our face, make it very, very easy for us to do that. So we're going to find the deals. We're going to get the data from our data source. We're going to choose new criteria. And here, again, as Jack just alluded to, it's so important that you understand what states that you want to work in the county, because once you do, it's very simple to come in here and then select the county that you want to work through. So as you can see, Florida's got a ton of counties here. I'm trying to get to the one that I want to cover. There we go. And also that price range that you all just talked about, right? You can update that here as well. So we got our market values. We've selected our county. We selected our state. And when I calculate my records based off of those filters right there, I can see that I have 62,000 records that I can pull at my disposal. One other thing I want to call out here.
62,000 records with market value over $30,000 and under $1 million. So this county alone has 62,000 potential deals. If 5% of them are ready, where the sellers are ready to give them up for pennies on the dollar, we're talking about 60,000, 6,000 is 10%, 3,000 deals potentially are in this county waiting for you alone. Right? Go ahead, Stephen. Didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. No worries. So let me jump back in here. And I get why you had to, because it's exciting. Guys, you should be really excited about the potential that is right here at your fingertips. I know I am. And that's why I love teaching this. And so we have our most popular filters that are already set in place per our criteria within the system. There's no additional guesswork that you have to do. And when I hit next, here you can see it gives me my results. It tells me how many records I've already imported. And I get to choose, right? Of those 62,000 records, I want to pull in, just for the demo example, I'm going to pull in 100. I can pull 100 of those records, select import the list. The system's going to do, wow, look at that. Just finished all my records, imported, ready to go, loaded into my CRM, ready for me to send out and mail. Done. And that took That's
right there.
But
like literally live demo within like 45 seconds plus explanation. You have leads right in your systems, right? So here's the thing: every single one of you can, the moment you get started, can have leads in your system right there. And then the next step is afterwards, very simply, is now you want to market to those leads, right? Who is excited by now? Who agrees that this is simple, guys? Who agrees it's simple? Put in the word simple into the chat box if you agree that this is simple. Like, that's the key, right? The key is to select those first areas in the right way and really make sure you select the proper areas. You select the wrong stuff there, it all goes nowhere. It's like having that first domino sitting sideways and it not tipping over anything else. Right? Okay, guys, put it in the chat box, guys. What are we? Oh, there's thing. I missed out. There's a bunch of simples. There we go. So with that said, now is the key, because here's the thing, guys. Here's something I want to say fundamentally, guys. We are here at the beginning of 2025 in order to compound your wins. Again, Michelle said that beautifully yesterday. Like, in life, we are so tempted always to look at what didn't work and be frustrated about what didn't work. But here's the thing, also, you want to compound, you want to celebrate what works, and you want to build upon what works. So here's the thing, we talked about your goals yesterday. So like, put in your goals again, a lot of people had like 150,000, 250,000, $500,000. A few of you even had $1 million as your goal. The thing is, even if you think you're starting with nothing, are you really starting with nothing? Like, if you're making 40 grand a year in your job, but you've been working 25 years, you already made $1 million in your lifetime. The fact is, you already are $1 million producer. The thing is, now what we need to do is we need to help you to compress time to make $1 million in the next couple of years. Right? That's what compounding winning is. It's looking back and saying like, no, I'm not starting from zero. I come with life experience. I come with a smart brain. I have all the tools that the world has given me to experience, because 22 years ago when Michelle and I started, none of this available. This software wasn't available. The counties barely had websites. We had to drive everywhere. We had to microfiche through things. We had to do everything the hard way. Today, everything is on your fingertips. So everyone can do this. The key is we're here to compound your dreams too, and to compound your successes. So who is ready to compound? This is the year of compounding, for compounding successes, of compounding your goals, of collapsing time, guys. So with that said, now let's talk about actually how, now we have leads, right? In one of these three ways, you can go directly to a lead service out there and download them, and then you have an Excel spreadsheet on your laptop. Or you can go to the county, get also an Excel spreadsheet from them. Or you can go the easy button and go into a CRM and just download it right there, and you have a full business system around you. So with that said, with that said, now that you have leads, let's go into actually marketing these leads. And before we do that, I want to actually, again, I want to congratulate those that have participated in our homework yesterday, because you guys have really shown the spirit, because the way you accomplish anything is by taking action and creating momentum. Momentum is the currency of success. Momentum is what gets you to a goal. Momentum is doing one thing and then being excited about it, and the excitement leads to the next thing, and the excitement of that leads to the next thing. And soon enough, you're doing more and more and more and more. So for those who have done, that's why we want to reward those that actually have taken that first step. And that first step was to simply go into our Facebook group. And if you haven't done it yet, still go back. You don't win today anymore, but if you do our today's homework, you actually can win a $5,000 scholarship, a partial scholarship towards one of our programs tomorrow. But the thing is, who wants to get a $5,000 scholarship? But the thing is, you gotta do yesterday's homework and today's homework. So if you haven't done yesterday's homework, go back into yesterday's Facebook post. Click below in the comments, put out what counties are you going to select, and what is your goal and why it is important. And then we're gonna, amongst all of them that fill out yesterday's homework and today's homework, tomorrow we're gonna select somebody to give a $5,000 scholarship. But here's the quick thing. I want to quickly announce who is the winner of the book bundle. And again, the book bundle was a wonderful business book, talks about every aspect of business through the eyes of a restaurant, but it's a super easy. My 17-year-old daughter loved this book, and actually is reading it for the second time. A 17-year-old, they don't like to read. She reads that. This one is Buy Back Your Time, because this entire business is designed to have you make money and own your time. Stephen, how many hours a day do you work on your business?
On average, like three to five, but not, it fluctuates, but most cases just 3 hours.
So 3 hours a day, and you make $30,000 a deal, and it's needless to say that you do more than probably a bunch of deals every year, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you just does 20, 25 deals, that's a $700,000 income on 3 hours a day. Well, Buy Back Your Time is an important book about that. This is a financial. We all need to have financial literacy. Financial literacy book by Unshakable by Tony Robbins. Hidden Potentials. It's about that success is not by nature, it's by nurture. In other words, you're not just born with a gene for success. Guys, if you ever believe that, it's bullshit. You're not born with a gene for success. You learn success. You study success, and you partner with those who are already successful, and so that you can learn through an apprenticeship way, you can learn what their success secrets are, and therefore you learn from the best and successful. And that is what this book talks about. The next book is how to be your future self now. Again, it's about growth and how to accelerate growth and how to take the person that you want to be and be that person today. It's an excellent book. Last but not least, one of my favorite books is 10x is easier than 2x. And isn't that true? Think about it. If you want to grow 30%, what are you going to do? Work harder. If you want to double your income, get a second job. But what if you want a 10x growth? You can't take 10 jobs. You can't quintuple your income and have 2 jobs that pay you 5 times. But so you have to think differently. And who is here ready to think differently, guys? We are here to show you that you can think differently, guys. That's the key here. We are wanting to, and the last book is one of my favorite books. I read that about once a year. It's an inspirational book. It's an inspirational book about, again, how to be different, how to go out there, and it's called Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So with that said, the winners, we have selected 2 winners of that. And the winners of this book is Melissa Kennedy and Fernando Moncayo. For Melissa and Fernando, congratulations. Our team's going to reach out to you and make sure that you get that. So again, this is important. And if anyone else, we'll post the books in the Facebook group. So if anyone wants to get the books for yourself, they're only like 15, 20 bucks each. You go buy them. I'm not getting a commission on that. It's just something we need to work. You need to work on your inner game. Your business will never outgrow your inner game. Guys, so you got to break through. You got to suspend disbelief. You got to be willing to grow in order to do that. But the beautiful thing is that you can do that because when you're part of the inner circle, you want to be part of a inner circle. You want to be part of a group of people that going places, and it rubs off, and you start learning, you start growing, and that's what life is all about. And there's no better time to do that than the beginning of the year. All right. So with that, Stephen, let's talk about the marketing channels that we have here in our that we do. So how do we reach people? So again, remember, you selected some areas. You now got a list of people that own properties with our criteria. That's $30,000 to $1 million. They might have owned the property for a while. They might be living out of state or in state or further away from the property. There's a couple of other criteria that we already went to. And then we go, now you get the list. And what do I do with that list now?
Yeah, so with the list, and I can do a demo when we're ready. But number 1 is direct mail. I mean, it's the tried and true way. That neutral letter that we have within our program, it works. It's been working since from inception. Jack thought of it, and even today, it's still a very powerful method process in order to reach those non-wanters and let them know, hey, we're here, right? We're here to help, and we can relieve you of that burden.
Yeah, exactly right. So direct mail. So now there's many different ways you can do direct mail. We have 2 different ways, and one of them is what we call our neutral letter. So the neutral letter is a way that basically says you send a friendly letter that tells people, hey, I know you own this piece of property. Are you interested in selling? We help you get rid of the burden of property ownership, and we pay cash. And obviously you don't, by the way, as I discussed yesterday, you don't actually need the cash for the properties. You can use your cash for other things. You can use it for your business, to grow your business, for marketing, for education, for things like that. But basically we say it in the letter, and then the people respond back to us. And typically when they respond back to us, you outsource that response to a call center, to an answering machine. So the key point here is that you send out direct mail, which you can outsource to, and then you have the phone calls come back, which you outsource to. So while you're drinking coffee, while you're in your job, while you're at your kid's soccer game, these leads are coming in. Who is excited about that? So again, this entire business is designed such that you don't actually have to be involved in those things. You don't have to be on the phone 10 hours a day talking to sellers. Occasionally you need to call a seller back to clarify something, of course, right? It's not that you're never going to talk to a seller, but occasionally you need to do this. And but the thing is, these neutral letter is one way. And the second way, and we actually recently tested the new set of neutral letters, and one of them was a winner that had actually gotten an even higher % response rates and deals under contract than we've ever seen before. So we just put that available in one of our programs, but the thing is, we as a company, we constantly test these things. We constantly on the cutting edge. We're constantly looking at how can we make things even better. And that's the benefit of obviously of working with the best in the market. So with that said, the second way that we use a direct mail letter is actually what we call a blind offer. Now, Stephen, what is a blind offer? Quickly.
Yeah, essentially a blind offer is you sending them an offer, right? They don't know who you are. There hasn't been any initial rapport built with that seller. You're saying, hey, I have cash for this property. Here's how much I'm willing to pay you for it. And with that offer cover letter, they also get a sales agreement as well. So right then and there, they can make a decision to sign that agreement, send that back to you, and you can be off to the races with your marketing and getting that property sold.
That's exactly right. So the key here is, guys, and somebody asked, how much to budget for direct mail each month for one deal? Typically, we say that it takes about 1,000 to 1,500 letters to get a direct mail deal in. So if you send that standard mail, it costs you perhaps $700. If you send it $500 to $700, if you send it first class mail, it might cost you about $1,000 to $1,200 to get a deal under contract. That's about it. That's about standard. Depending on the area, of course, the higher price you go, the more follow-up you need to do, and the lower price you go, the more cheaper deals you're going to get offered to you. So I mean, the most we've done is like send out 100 letters and got 55 phone calls back and bought 35 properties, but those were bottom end properties, which, as I said yesterday, are not a good target today. Today, what you want to do is we're in a different market. We're in some of the best market, but it's a different market. And that's for those who have already attended these masterclasses before. This might be a little bit of a gem for you. The one thing, as I talked about in one of my videos the other day, the one thing is like in this market right now, you want to go at $30,000 and above. And we are no longer in a market where you can just waste leads. You want to make sure you follow up on every lead. You want to make sure you go, you connect with every lead. You want to make sure you follow up multiple times, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And again, direct mail is a great strategy for that. To that. And Steve, why don't you quickly show how it's just a neutral letter, how that strategy would work again using our software?
Okay, sure. Let me pull it up here again. Hop back into Investment Dominator. All right. So again, we want to pull in or send out letters. So how we can do that is here within Investment Dominator under campaigns. This will be the easiest way to illustrate it. You can see here, right? These are all the records in our prospect status. So those are records that we literally just pulled into our system, right? We have the ability here within this dropdown, you can see we have our neutral letter, right, that we just talked about, that we can pull in here. We can select that neutral letter, and we have what's awesome about the system. Within the system here, depending upon what campaigns we have going on, you can see we have different counties that we might want to mail to. But for the example, we're going to mail to all of them. When I hit start campaign, select my neutral letter. When I hit start campaign, here I have options to get those letters out the door. We have a multitude of options in order to get that done. And here we have our automated system here. Let me close this out. Okay, here's the screen I wanted to get to. So here, right here within the system, I can send out all of those neutral letters using our integrated mail house system. That's what I wanted to get to. And you can see from, again, I like to use the alphabet A to Z, right? From the start of the campaign all the way to the point of reviewing, paying for the order, and then updating my records in the system, signifying, right, that those records were mailed out to those owners. And so now I have the ability to, number one, send out those records all within the system without leaving the system with our integrated mailhouse system process. And then lastly, have the ability to track each one of those records. So I know exactly what mailing campaign they came from, what county they're associated with. And so I'm getting into KPIs, but trust me, this stuff is really good. It's gold. You're going to be happy that you have something in place that can do this. But again, a few button clicks, we're done.
Right, exactly right. So guys, here's the thing I think about. So if you think about that, who are we looking for and why are these people selling these properties? Like, that's very simple. And as I'm reading some of you guys' question, that seems to be a little bit of theme that come up again. So one thing you want to understand, again, as I said, 95% of the owners of these properties are not going to sell to us because they're happy with their property. But we're looking for the 5% that are not just even motivated, but no motivated sellers are going to give you a 20% discount. We don't want a 20% discount. What we want is we want the non-wanters. So we want people where the owners have passed away and the heirs, like, what does heirs want? Put it in the chat box. If an heir inherits something, and that something is a piece of land and it costs them money to just hold on to, what does this heir want? Heirs want money. In the United States, it takes the average time it takes, like if somebody's parents pass away and they inherit the house, 72 days and that house is on the market. Now, can you imagine what happened with land? When land is on the market, when somebody inherits a piece of land, the very first thing they do is they just want to get rid of it. They don't know what it's worth. They don't care what it's worth. They're never going to go out there visit it. They just don't care. As a result, you can get these properties for 50, 60, 70, 80% discounts from these non-wanters. Sometimes life plans have changed. Perhaps they bought this beautiful lot on a lake and they wanted to go retire there, but now the grandkids are born. And the grandkids are born and they're cute and thing, and you don't want to be far away, and I can relate to that. I got a 17-year-old daughter. She hopefully is not going to have kids for the next probably 10 years, but once those kids are born, once she's settled and married and things, she has kids, I want to be close to those little suckers. Right? I want to cuddle them every day and I want to give them back at night, right? But the thing is, therefore I want to be close. I want to live close. I don't want to be on a lake somewhere, like a 3-hour flight away. So what looked like a good idea at the moment that they bought that piece of land now changed. Perhaps one spouse passed away and the other one doesn't want it anymore. Sometimes divorces happen. Sometimes they just have financial needs and they need to sell these properties. But the point is, we're looking for those who no longer want these properties. They're disillusioned for it. Perhaps they used it for 20 years and now they have no more use for it. And they're just like, and they bought it for 10 grand. It's worth 100 now. And if you give them 25, they're happy as a clam. That's what we're looking for. And so and so when we do this, so these are the people looking for, and that's why they're looking to sell these properties. So now we need to make sure we get a hold of them. So the other one is cold calls. The second one is the blind offers, which I already talked about. It's the so actually the first one was the direct mail, but with a neutral letter. The second one is the blind offers, which also direct mail. You can use the exact same process that Stephen just showed, just that you send out now an actual cover letter and an actual offer. So you need to set the offers up first, which is a little bit more involvement up first, versus with a neutral letter, you don't do much research. You identify your area, you identify your leads, you send them a letter, and you have them self-identify to see who is interested in selling. Then you do research on those. Like if you send out 1,000 letters and you get 30 responses, a 3% response rate, which by the way is 10x what the house flippers get. I belong to a mastermind with some of the top house flippers in the United States, and they're on average getting a 0.3% response rate on their direct mail. So they send out 1,000 letters, they get 3 responses. We send out 1,000 letters, we get up to 30 responses, anywhere between 10 and 30. So if you're like on the upper end of that, you get 30 responses. 30 responses should have a deal inside, because you typically get a response rate of about one deal for every 25, 30 offers. As a matter of fact, I can even do a quick demo in a second. Go walk through the numbers in a second. But point is, so again, you're sending. The direct mail is one option. Direct blind offers is the second option. Cold calling is another option. Now, Stephen, what cold calling is that? It's great, but do you want to do cold calling yourself and be on the phone all day long?
No, I don't. That would be counter to my 3 hours, right, working time limit that I have in place. So no, definitely not something that you want to be doing yourself. Something you want to outsource for sure.
Exactly. So the beautiful thing is that cold calling works. You can call people that have those properties. You get the data. You have it enriched a little bit with phone numbers. You call the phone numbers. But the point is, you don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I've never done a cold call in my life. And Michelle and I have done over 5,000 land deals. I rather go attend a school function of my daughter. I rather go have breakfast with Michelle. I rather go have lunch with Michelle. I rather go play with my dog in the backyard or go on a walk. I rather go on a hike. I rather go travel than do a cold call. I want to live my life. Who wants to live your life and make money, guys? Who wants to live your life and make money? Give me a heck yes if you want to live your life and make money. That's what we're talking about. So cold call works. But you want to hire services. Now, we have associated with multiple services. We vetted a bunch of services, so we got everything lined up for you. There's a bunch of services that do cold calls for you. You tell them where you want to go. You tell them how many people you want to contact. You give them and then basically they tell you at X amount of dollars, and then they cold call for you, and they give you the ready to offer leads. Right? Would that be a good idea? What if you could skip all of that and literally just get leads? Would that be a good thing? So that's what cold calling, and the same thing happens with texting. Texting is another strategy, same thing. You can text people, but guess what? If you text somebody and they say, yes, I'm interested, how fast are you expected to respond? Right away, right?
Lightning fast.
Yeah, right away. So I don't want to respond to anyone right away. Again, I want to have lunch. I want to take a nap. I want to go travel. I want to go to the mall. I want to go hike the mountains around my house. I want to live this life. Who's with me, right? If you ride horses, you want to go on a horseback ride. If you want, I want to sit in a coffee shop. I want to enjoy life, right? I want to enjoy life. I want to read all these books and so on. The thing is, I don't want to have fun outdoors. But the point is, so I don't want to text, but you can outsource it. You can outsource it. So you can hire companies. They text for you. They get the responses. They engage the person. Then they tell you, okay, give me a couple of days, and I'll give you a few days, and I'll make you an offer. And they send that lead over to you, and then you have a few days now to make them an offer. Right? Who likes that? So again, another way that you can do deals is with paid traffic. Now, this is the newest kid on the block. It used to be like nobody figured out how you can actually do paid advertising to attract people that are looking to sell their land, but it's available now. And again, there's services out there that do that for you. What else can you do, right? There's bonus that you can actually get deals without any marketing. You can go attend the tax deed auction and buy a tax delinquent property. You can go after the tax deed auction and buy them over the counter, right? You can do all those kind of things like that. So and the best thing is that we have done all of those things already. Like we have done all these things already, and we can, and again, we and our partner coaches and so on, we're doing those things all day long. And now another one is old listings. Stephen, how does that work with the old listings? And I'll actually do a quick demo about that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, this is a fun one. You actually go to hot market areas, wherever counties, you've selected, and you go to platforms like the MLS, like Zillow, and there you make offers direct to the realtors. So again, these are people, they want to get rid of those properties, but maybe, they've had some difficulties. And again, this is where you can come in and help those non-wanters. Sure.
And by the way, guys, when some people say like, hey, outsourcing can be expensive. Yes, that's true. But here, let me give you a quick example. Did you know that the average McDonald's franchise out there is like a couple $1 million? Did you know that the average Subway franchise, tiny little Subway store, you walk in, there's a row of tables there, there's a counter there, that's it, right? Costs you up to $400,000 to set up. Between franchise fee, between training, between the equipment, between setting it all up at the corporate, they all look the same. You know that costs up to $400,000, and they're actually closing thousands of them right now because they over franchised. They went out too far. But then did you know that once you have that set up, you spend $400,000. You have to pay a morning shift, an afternoon shift, an evening shift, a weekend shift. You have to do an accountant. You have to do a cleaning crew. You have to open the store, close the store, order the food, throw away the food, make sure you have equipment repaired. You have to do bookkeeping. You have to do accounting. You have to report to corporate. That's all your role as a franchisee. And you just invested $400,000. And then at the end of the day, you know what the average franchisee of Subway makes in the first few years? $67,000. Stephen, have you made more than $67,000 in one deal?
Yes, for sure. And that sounds like a lot of work, Jack. Those Subway owners, my gosh. Yeah.
That's the thing. So, but what I want you to understand is that we're dealing with a business here, and a business does have operational cost. The business does have operational costs. Now, if you're here and you basically say like, I got zero money, still stay with us, because again, we're going to share with you some strategies that you can get your first deal or something like that, even without direct mail and things like that. But for those who want to scale, For those who want to create six figures, multiple six figures, or even seven figures, you want to look at this as a clear business. The business that requires some marketing for it, that requires a little bit of operations, but the operations costs are not very high. Your fixed costs are super low. If you think about it, we'll talk about that in another session, but you only, for a few $100s a month, you have all your fixed costs covered. The rest is only marketing, and marketing all leads to deals, and deals lead to profit, so marketing pays for itself. Make sense, guys? Like, a business is a different kind of thing. But with that said, let me quickly share with you guys what's actually, how this old listing strategy. As a matter of fact, this is a strategy that you can use to get your first deal or an occasional deal without even direct mail. But it's not a scalable strategy, right? But it's a strategy that you can use to get going. So for those of you really here with zero ability to invest, pay close attention. And here's how it looks at it. So we look at it. Let's look at that same area that we looked at. This is outside of Atlanta, this kind of area. There's like, look at it. There's a lake close by. There's probably a bunch of properties here. Let's look at what are these properties listed for. This property is listed for 100,000. This is listed for 500,000. This is a 160, 450, 80. If I go out a little bit more here, this is that Rome, Lindale area. As these listings come up, I can see properties from 82,000 to everything else. But my key is that I think if I sort it by newest, there's properties that have been on the market for there's 543 properties in this kind of area here. But there's properties that have been a day on the market, but there's also properties that have been here 144 days, 150 days, 100, even longer than that, probably 151 days, and et cetera, et cetera. And you can go here further and further, and you can see that there's properties that if I go further back here, there's properties that have been on the market over half a year. And if I go in here longer, this is like the last one here, but 182 days. If you look at that in different areas, what you'll find is that you'll find areas where properties are listed for a year and a half, 2 years. And what you want to do is very simply, you want to go and what you do is very simply, you go into Zillow and then you go sort by newest. You unfortunately can sort by oldest. That would be great. You sort by newest, and then you go to the bottom and you tap page by page by page until you get to the last page. And when you're on one of the last pages, and you get to the oldest listings, and sometimes the oldest listings are so old. I mean, think about it. If a property in a good market, in an active market where properties are selling, if a property sits there for 300, 400, 500, 600 days, and the property looks like nothing is wrong with the property, then what is it? It's very simply, it's the listing. Because here's something I want to share with you, and that is, Stephen, you have that experience. Like, most realtors know how to list land?
No, they don't.
They don't. They suck at listing land. Like most realtors, what they treat land like the stepchild that or like something like that they don't like and think. So they basically, somebody calls their uncle's cousin and says or their uncle's neighbor and says hey, I know you're a realtor. Would you list my piece of land? And then they might say yeah, well, we'll list it. That's fine. But this realtor is a house realtor. And in the house side, a house realtor knows how to market a house. You go get the photographer in at sunset. You stage the house. You make sure it looks all beautiful. You take lots of pictures with perfect lighting. You do a broker's open. You do an open house. None of that stuff you can do on the property. What are you going to do? Stage the house, put some furniture on the land? You can't do it, right? You can do some drone shots. That's correct, Dan. That is correct. You can do some drone shots and they help a lot, but realtors don't usually do that because they're too lazy to do that. And I'm not talking about the good realtors. I'm talking about the realtors that don't know anything about land. And unfortunately, 90% of realtors don't know anything about land. So many times what you'll find is that those old listings, what they have is one picture, no description, and the realtor is even unresponsive if you reach out to them, or you have to reach out to them multiple times before they respond. But is the land bad? No. So what is going on in the head of the seller, guys? Am I making sense here, guys? Am I making sense? Give me a heck yes if I'm making sense. Think about this. What is going on in the head of the seller? In the head of the seller is like, man, my property's not selling. I guess it's not worth anything. And now what you can do is you can find those lots and make an offer to the realtor, but a low offer, get those deals accepted, and then do what we teach you tomorrow, which is how to create the perfect listing, and then take those properties, put them right back on the market, sell them, and double your money. Right? That's another way you can do this. And then there's, of course, there's other things you want to do. But again, in this market today, you want to go after every lead, because every lead is important. Every lead counts. And that's a big distinction too, like even a few years ago. So Steven, again, does that make sense, guys? Like what I'm talking about here? Nonsense, as Jason? Okay, well, then you might not be agree with me. That's okay.
Right.
So yes, I guess
absolutely. It answers the question of motivation, right? Folks are like, well, why would they be motivated? Well, the listing's been sitting there for half a year, and in some cases over a year. Imagine you trying to sell something personally and it doesn't, you're motivated. And you have now somebody coming and saying, hey, I'll take this off your hands. They're going to be ready to work with you, or at least listen.
They're desperate, exactly, Livia. They're desperate. They're ready to move on. Again, also keep in mind that these properties are owned free and clear. So they don't have a mortgage on it. They're just sitting there and they're costing them property taxes. So they're just like, I want to get rid of this thing. And that's what we focus on. And again, at any given time, 5% of the properties of the 46 million properties in the United States are ready for that. And guess what? What does everyone else do? Focus on houses. Everyone else watches flip this house and fix this house and list it or sell it or whatever it is, or keep it or sell it, whatever these things are. And everyone focuses on house flipping, house wholesaling, house development, house. And there's this niche in the market that perhaps we today have 2,000 people in the United States that do this, but we have 3,000 counties. My estimation is that I know that about 3 million people have been trained to flip houses or wholesale houses. There's 100 million houses and there's 3 million people. That means for every house flipper, there's 33 houses. There's 2,000 land flippers in this United States, and there's 46 million houses, 46 million pieces of land. That means that for every land flipper, there's something like 23,000 pieces of land that you can go after. And for every house flipper, there's only 33 houses you can go over. Is anyone ever concerned about competition? Forget about it. We're still like, are you alone in this market? No, there's a couple of thousand other people that have learned this and are doing this now. But the point is the competition is 100. So for every 100 house flippers, there's one land flipper. That's the beauty of this method, guys. So with that said, let's talk about who wants to know how to value this property. So let's say you identified your areas, you got your leads, you used one of these 6, 7, 8 strategies that we gave you right now to contact these owners. The owners are calling back and they want an offer. How do I value these properties? And Stephen, how do you value these properties? What are some of the ways that you use to value properties? And I'll do another demo on it.
Sure. Well, the first way, and really the best way, and I got a mantra for it. I call it sold is gold. So sold comps, sold comparables, right? Properties that are like yours, size, dimension, features in some cases. Those are sales that actually happened in the market, right? Somebody exchanged money, dollars, right? That property sold. That's real. That's tangible. That's something that I can say, wow, my property is just like that one. That property sold for 100 grand. My property is worth 100 grand.
Exactly right. That's the first one. That's the gold standard right there. Sold is gold. I love that. I might have to adopt that. I'll give you credit for it, of course. It's like just like for selling with realtors, you want to look for the Michael Jordan of realtors, which I credit Aaron, one of our other head master coaches or head partner coaches, and I give him credit for that. So sold is gold. I love that. Yes, sold. So very simply, I already showed you how to do that, guys. I already showed you how to do that first thing this today. I showed you how to do this yesterday. So on Zillow, very simply, you go look at that. And what you have here right now is the properties that are for sale. But very simply, I can look at and I can see what's sold in this market. And when I see if my property, let's say, is in this area over here, and I saw, or it's, let's take that lake. I like that lake around here. So because lakesides, like an hour, a lake property is an hour away from from a city, from a big city, are gold. Because who doesn't want to have a lake house an hour away from town, right? Put in the chat box. Would you like to have a lake house half an hour away from the city you live in? Yeah, absolutely, right? So let's look at that. We see that there's property sold here. So this property sold for $80,000. This sold for $80,000. Well, how big it is? 0.65 of an acre, 0.4 of an acre, $99,000. It doesn't tell us how big it is, but $45,000. Or let's look at not at the lake. Let's look at what we looked before. Let's look at like the Arizona area, where we looked at the Arizona area here in the Phoenix area, which we covered yesterday. We looked at this kind of area over here, and we saw that there's a bunch of properties. What is this? 1 acre, 55,000. 1 acre, 52,000. 1 acre, 55,000. 1 acre, 55,000. Guys, what is 1 acre worth in that area? $55,000.
That's right.
Done. Valuation done. Now, at the same time, what if there's no properties that sold? Well, first of all, that's an alarm signal itself. Or what if there's not enough properties to make you comfortable? What if there's only 2 that sold for $55,000 and perhaps they're a little bit longer ago? Well, the next thing you do is you switch over to sold. Because I want to see, like, what are more properties in this area worth? What I look at here, this is listed 3 acres. This is listed, there's no, in this case, what is this? This is 1 acre, but it's like somewhere else. So in this case, there's no listed properties in the area, so we go after the solds. But let's say if this is the area, I look at this and I see, here's a property for 80,000, 4 acres. We look at this, 80,000, 4 acres, 80,000, well, it's close to this development. So I see like, how big is this? I need to move this. I have something popping up on my screen that I need to move. I see here is it's 1 square foot. That's certainly not the case. I see that can't be right. But 1 acre for 60, another acre for, and 1¼ acres for 60, another ¼ acre for 60. And a larger property is here for 80. So that's important to know, because we can tell here, if we look at it, that this is probably under this road, this is probably a little bit more developed. We can change this to say satellite view, and what we see is that there's actually roads here, there's actually houses, so that means there's probably some utilities. So 1¼ acre here sells for 1¼ So it's listed for 1¼ Now if I switch to sold, what I see here is that nothing sold right now. So if I have a property in this subdivision, there's nothing sold. But if I go to for sale, I see that it's listed for sale at 60. So what do we do then? Typically what we do is we take the listed price and we subtract about 20%, 15 to 20%. So in this case, 15% is about $9,000, $10,000. So I would estimate the value of those at $50,000. And then I'll make my offer. So if you don't have sold, but you have only listed, you use the listed. Right? Another thing I already shared with you yesterday. Right? And another one I shared with you yesterday was like, what if the parcel is a little bit bigger? Right? What if the parcel is a little bit bigger? So we talked about that here. So like, we go, not street view, what we do to this, what we had a couple of areas here where there was properties that sold for $400,000. Well, $400,000 for 10 acres is $40,000 an acre, but 1¼ acres is $60,000 a thing. So therefore, well, what's the difference? Well, this sells for basically about $50,000 an acre. This one sells for $40,000 an acre. And let me actually go for the sold area again, because sold again is gold. So we're going to look at the sold, and we're going to say here that 120,000 is a 6 acres sold for 120. So that means 6 acres sold for $20,000 an acre, but 2 acres sell for also $20,000 an acre. So this is perhaps a bad example, but 1 acre sells for $41,000 an acre. So in other words, if you're a little bit in the rural areas, the rule of thumb is that the larger the property, the lower the price per acre. So in other words, a 2-acre parcel might sell for $60,000, $30,000 an acre. A 10-acre parcel might sold for $200,000, so $20,000 an acre. And a 100-acre parcel might sell for $1.5 million, which is, in this case, $15,000 an acre. So that's something else you can kind of keep in mind. As the acreage goes up, the price per acre goes down. And equally, as the acreage goes down, the price per acre goes up. So you keep that in mind. And then lastly, you can also look at the assessed values. They usually give you a little bit of a range, right, Stephen? So in Florida, what's the ratio between assessed value and market value? It's about 85%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's about 85%. Some markets it's 1-to-1, but
Yeah.
about 85%.
So if you look at Florida, you see a property assessed at $50,000. What is it worth? $50,000 to $60,000. And again, that's enough because based on that, we're actually making offers.
Exactly.
And how do we make offers, Stephen? You want to give another quick demo on how to make offers? Guys, is this actually good knowledge? Is that good value that we're giving you guys? This is how you go through this. This is all planned out for you guys. Again, this is part of like our partnership model that we don't just show you stuff, we demonstrate you stuff. We actually team up with you and want to make sure that you really know that this is actually possible. Because have I shown you anything that seems impossible today? I don't think so, right? So Stephen, show us quickly how to actually make offers here.
Okay, sure. So I'm back in our investment dominator under campaign. So we're going to that similar location where we were when we sent out our letters initially. Now, if I scroll down here, you can see here's our area within investment dominator where we can make our offer request. And so any of those records right now, we have 37 that are ready to be sent out. Here's awesome. So here's the offer agreement. I can select that agreement, and that's going to be the documentation that's sent out. Or remember, we talked about blind offers. If we're doing a blind offer campaign, I can send out the blind offers from here as well. And so both things are right here, readily available, easy for you. And you got multiple ways, again, to get those letters out the door. So
great. Can you also quickly show the offer calculator? Just a quick.
Sure. Yeah.
That would be really great.
Yep. Okay, sure. Yep. Let me hop back in.
Stephanie
here.
in marketing is, by the way, tomorrow. Tomorrow is one of our crucial sessions to attend. Make sure everyone attends tomorrow, because tomorrow we're talking all about how to sell these properties, how to market the properties, how to create a great listing, where to sell them, where to market them, how to follow up, and how to get these properties sold. So make sure you're there tomorrow. We are a full week together, and we might even have a couple of bonus sessions afterwards. So make sure you're really there for the full weekend and even beyond that.
That's cool. All right. I love that. So here, I'm over here looking at my other screen. So we want to look at the offer calculator. So here are some records that are ready for those offers. We determined the market value. I can simply just go here to actions, calculate offer, option amount, boom, right there. So if that property is worth 150,000, right? The calculator will give me my offer minimum and maximum range that it recommends based on the value of that property. And what I also have the ability to do, if I come down here to the bottom, right, we're maybe in a hotter market, a more competitive market potentially, I have the ability to create a custom offer, right? So I'm going just slightly above. So again, that gives me power, right? As a CEO of my company, I get to make that determination, save that offer, and now it's ready to be sent out per what I just showed you under that campaign drop down previously.
Exactly right. So guys, who is excited about this so far? Because we still have to talk about, we still have the KPIs to talk about, and then again, making offers. We actually covered this already. So we have the KPIs still. Like, we want to make sure we run our business by the numbers, which, by the way, we're going to talk about on Friday in much more detail with our panel. They're going to talk about how they automate their business, how they sell their properties, how they do all the different things, and how they on average run a $500 to $1 million profit business in a matter between 1 and 3 hours a day. Like, is anyone excited about the possibility of running a $500,000 to $1 million business on 1 to 3 hours a day? Now, it won't happen on day one. There's a little bit of a learning curve. But also, let me ask you, what if you could skip the entire front end of everything and the county selection, the marketing and everything, and literally skip that entire piece and have leads getting into your inbox from day one? Who would be interested in that? And who would be interested also? What if you could actually be a partner with somebody already experienced? Would that be interested? I'll talk about that much more tomorrow. But if you're interested in that, what I want you to do is put in the words "skip the line" right now. Skip the line right now, and then. Yeah, skip the line right now, and then yeah, we'll go from there, right? So also, so with that, Stephen, so let's talk about like the key here is because you want to be, again, what we're trying to do here is to catapult you to success. Catapult you to success. It's our mission in life to create 2,000 millionaires. We believe, based on our calculations, that we already created 1,000 millionaires with this method. We want to create another 1,000 millionaires, right? So, and this is not just about motivation. This entire week is about creating people of influence. I want you to become a person of influence in your family, a person of influence in your society, in your group, in your community, a person of influence, like people that compounding influence. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. If you failed in the past, you actually haven't failed. You were prepared. Right? The thing is, in life, we mark something as failure, and then we feel worse when in reality what we have done, we have learned. We have better. Like if you've done something in real estate already and you haven't been able to get it done, then what you learned is that this is not your strategy. This is not your strategy. It wasn't your strategy, but you've probably learned the language of real estate. You probably learned the terminology of real estate. You probably learned some basic skills around real estate. That means that you're coming to the plate right here with already, you're not on the home plate. You're already on first base or second base or third base. Right? And in order to score, you're actually so much more advanced. And if you're a beginning investor and you've never heard anything about real estate, then you're at the right place, because what we're doing is we're saving you the time to have to learn all this fix and flip stuff, all the different things that come with that. Because again, we're trying to compound on what you've already done and compounding that kind of influence. So with that said, guys, now go and Stephen, let's talk about the KPIs in the acquisition side. So what do you measure when you go out there market to people? Let's talk about that a little bit and why you measure for that and so on.
So I'll just give the answers because they're on the sheet as well. So number one is response rates. Again, based on the letters as an example that you send out, how many of those people are calling back looking for offers? That's something you want to measure. That lets you know, was this campaign, at least initially, successful, right? Are there people, a lot of non-wanters in that particular market? And so the response rates help you understand that, gauge that, and then it may, help you make a determination as to whether or not you go back into that market. So the second piece of that puzzle is also acceptance rates. So, once you've kind of got the initial, okay, it's got a good response rate in that particular area. Well, how many people actually accepted your offers? So we just talked about how to send out those offers. Now, once they were sent out, were they accepted? Initially when they sent out, did you follow up? I think, Jack, you'll probably talk a little bit more about the crucialness of following up. But that's important. How many of those offers were accepted? And, that lets you, again, know that this was a successful campaign. And then I don't think it's on here, but, I want to just throw in number 3 as well. How much profit did you make, right? Did you make money in that area? So it's not one thing just to simply get the offers accepted. You need to get it to the finish line, which I believe Jack will talk about. He's alluded to talking through tomorrow or later on this week. And then you guys are going to hear from some other experts in the industry on how they're able to have that success. But once you understand, right, here's how much profit I made in this market, here's the acceptance rates that I received based on the offers that I sent out, plus the response rates, now that lets you know, hey, I got a honey pot. I think, Jack, you referred to it as a gold pot, maybe at the end of the rainbow. Maybe that's what you were referring to. But, that lets you know, right, as an investor, as a CEO, these metrics are important. This is where I need to funnel in my additional capital. Or if those numbers aren't positive, this is where I need to take it away. And that's okay too, right? You don't want to keep putting money into, a situation or a location that's not going to be profitable for you. So that's
Yes.
those are things to be thinking about and considering for sure.
Absolutely. So, and guys, again, along with the skip and line, if you want to talk to our team already about how you can be part of that, of our inner circle, how you can be part and
Mhm.
potentially even partner with us on those deals and on this journey, and how you become really that compounding winner of life, that compounding transformational person, how you can compound your influence and how you can really make 2025 finally the year that doesn't end the same way that 24, 23, 22, 21 ended, with you being frustrated or for not having moved forward in any shape or form. Then you can actually go to landexpertcall.com and already start booking a call with our team and get a little bit more information. But again, we're going to continue with our free information all week long. We're going to talk about this much more tomorrow. But yeah, the KPIs, guys. So again, skip the line if you would love to do this, if you would love to get involved in this, if this sounds really interesting to you. And then also go check out Land Expert Call and book a quick 15-20 minute introductory call with our team to just talk about the possibility of doing this in a little bit more serious, in a more serious manner, right? So with that said, KPIs, they're so freaking important. So on Friday, we're going to talk about, as a matter of fact, let's actually bring somebody in. Let's actually show, like, one of our students wanted to share with us. He can't be out with us live, so he recorded a quick video. Why don't we quickly share that video? It's Adam Arksfeld. He's doing fantastic in his land business, $100,000 a year in profits. And he's going to share quickly just, how he is doing it, what he's doing. So let's play that quickly for you guys to see that this is really real.
My first deal took about 3 months, and it was a little bit larger deal. It was a $35,000 sale. There's real money to be made. That was my first deal, 35 grand. I was super stoked about it. We made 240,000 our first year. I chose this business for a few different reasons. One is it's very scalable, and it's location independent. And it's real estate. So those were kind of like three things that I wanted. I think that freedom is the biggest piece by far. The location independence for me, because we like to travel. And we don't have to put anything on hold, and we don't lose money. We're not trading dollars for time. That's what I used to do in digital marketing. I would work for 125 bucks an hour, 100 bucks an hour, whatever. That's not what it is anymore. I can work 30 hours a week and make, 250, 500 grand is, where my mindset's at on that. Honestly, I'm a competitive guy. I like to grow. It's kind of a game to me at this point. And yes. So our target's $1 million. If we fall short, that's okay, because honestly, I'll make more money this year than I made after owning 13 years of my marketing agency, because the business models are so different. Yeah. And this is just a much more scalable business model with super high margins. I mean, the margins are ridiculous. They're really high. Most businesses require an investment. And so the program and the mailing are the investment. They will pay back if you stick with it. It's like a guarantee. And it's a guarantee with their program. I would not doubt that they would do anything they can to help you be successful.
Wonderful. So that's Adam Arksfeld, $248,000. I heard that right in his first year. Anyone okay with $250,000 in your first year doing this part-time? Well, he said all the things that are important to me too, which is travel. Which is be around my family. Steven, you used to be an engineer, right? I mean, you're still an engineer, but used to have a job as an engineer.
Well, financial analyst. So,
financial analyst. I keep thinking you're an engineer.
I don't know. You always think I'm an engineer, but I wish at some point, education-wise, that'd be cool. But no, I was a financial analyst. And
you went to college, studied finance. I did. You're a financial analyst. You rose through the ranks. Your wife, Jansen, she also ran huge projects, things like that. Well, yeah. So how many jobs do you have in your family now?
How many jobs, like, as far as?
No, I mean, do you still have a job?
Oh, no. Okay.
Does Jansen still have a job?
I was very confused. No, she doesn't. No. We're full-time real estate. You both quit your job. You both do this full-time. And what do you do in most of your day-to-day? Yeah, so aside from, working on my business, those 3 hours, I spend majority of my time giving back to my community as far as PTA or helping out with my kids in school. So that's
he's so humble. He's actually the PTA president for his entire county. Guys, that's influence. That's influence. From being in his job from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day and not barely seeing the kids, to now basically being in your school, of your kids' school, being in the region, helping schools become better, being a positive influence in your community, guys. Isn't that what it's all about? Guys, we have been brainwashed in this world to think that we got to work 40 hours a week, 40 years, 40 hours a week for 2 weeks vacation, and then retire and enjoy life when we're old and broken. That's bullshit. Like, every single one of you guys is half a year to 1 year away, and some of you guys even faster, from quitting your job, being financially independent, having six figures on the line, if you do the work. It's not a guarantee, of course, right? You got to do the work. You got to do the things. But here's the question. Do you rather going to go fix a bunch of houses, be subject to a bunch of contractors that show up or don't show up, that steal from you, and that do all kinds of crap stuff, like have to borrow a $500,000 loan in order to buy your house and fix it up? Or do you rather go get a $70,000 deal on a contract for $20,000 with a 6 months close of escrow, with no earnest money down, with the ability to back out anytime for any reason, and then turn around, market that property, find somebody willing to pay you $50,000 for it, send both of these agreements to the title company. That's called a double closing. You have an agreement for 20, you have to purchase it for 20, you have an agreement to sell it for 50, send both of those to the title company. The title company now does all the paperwork, sends that paperwork to everyone to sign. You don't have to show up in the title office. You don't have to close. You can just go to a local bank and a notary, or have a mobile notary come to your house, sign, have it notarized, send it back. Then the buyer sends in their $50,000. The title company takes $2,000 for themselves. Now they have 48 left. They sent the seller $20,000, and they send $28,000 to you. You just did a deal without using any of your own money. That's what we talked about yesterday. It's one of our standard ways to doing deals. Do you rather make $28,000 that way, or do you rather do all this effort in the house flipping world, or get into multifamily where it's like hugely complicated, or you get into all these kind of things? How about just keeping things simple and creating a scalable business that works on your time, where you can outsource the mailing, automate the mailing using the software, just send it out, have a third party send out the mail for you. Then you automate the follow-up, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, tomorrow, and on Thursday we talk a lot about follow-up. And then you go in, and then when you have a deal under contract, again, our contract allows you to back out anytime for any reason. You use our tools to make the offers. Like, there's an offer making tool. Some of the comping you can do through the software. You do what we learned today to get the value of these properties. You make an offer, you create a follow-up system, get deals under contract, then you use what you learn tomorrow to sell those properties. And even when selling, you can use realtors for it, you can use websites for it, you can automate a lot of this such that you're not even much involved on the selling side. That's why tomorrow is so important. And in the process, you make $15,000, $20,000, sometimes only $3,000, sometimes $100,000 on a deals, and you do that in a couple of hours of your time per day, and you build a six-figure empire, and your life completely changes. Last year, Michelle and I were in Europe for 2 months. I actually was an extra month there for 3 months. I'm thinking about going in April to just visit my mom for her birthday, as a surprise visit for a few days. Why not? My parents are in Germany, and Michelle's family's in Honduras. We probably see our family more often than most Americans do, even though their family lives in the country. What's wrong with that picture? What's wrong with the picture is that you have been fed a lie. And the lie is that you have to work a job for 40 years, and you have to put 10% of your money aside in a 401k, that on top of it, when you get it out later on, they tax you to death on that thing. And that's just all the mass industries that want you to believe this. There is a different way, guys. Stephen has dared to suspend disbelief, has seen me speak at a conference, has then afterwards engaged with us, then he quit his job, then his wife quit his job, and now they're living the life of abundance with travel. So with that said, Stephen, we're going to finish this up. Actually, we have homework. So the homework for today is again the same way. We're going to go into the Facebook group. In the Facebook group, right after this is over, our team is going to put a picture and with a homework question, and below you click on the comment below, and you put your your comment and you answer the question. You also go to yesterday's if you haven't done it and do it there too. And then amongst the people that answered both questions, we're going to raffle off one $5,000 partial credit to one of our programs. So you could be the lucky winner of a $5,000 scholarship for one of our programs. And the question for today is, or the homework for today is that we want you to go pull a list of vacant owners for one county, or at least identify your number one county that you want to do this with. And then also answer to us something that we didn't ask yesterday. Why is it important to you and your family to get this mailing out, to get this business started? Why is it important to you to finally get out of the rat race? Why it is important to you to finally be that influence factor and be that leader of your family? Why is it important to you to those, like basically, why is this important to you? In other words, why are you here? What are you looking to get out of it? What are you looking to accomplish in life? Because that reason why is ultimately will push you forward. All right? Deadline is tomorrow's session. Before we start by tomorrow morning, like an hour before, the team's going to select it. So by 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning, the team's going to select a winner, and they're going to let me know who it is. I'm not involved in that decision. The team just selects that person, and they let me know. So in that case, again, pull a list of vacant owners for one county and then answer the question. And that's even more important. Why it is important for you and your family to do this right now, to get this mailing out the door, to get started on this, to keep the momentum. You can interpret that question a little bit wider than actually what we've said. So that's what we're going to do. And then tomorrow again, 9 a.m. Pacific, one of our most important sessions all week, because we're going to share with you all the marketing pieces, how exactly sell these properties. And Stephen, with that, I want to leave the last word to you. And that is like, tell us how your life looked like before and how your life looks like today. And then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. So my life before, it felt like I wasn't going anywhere. It felt dead. Okay. So I didn't know if I wanted to use that word or not, but it
Who
felt
relates
like
to that?
it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. How many people can relate to that? Put that in the chat. Feeling like you're dead, you're lost, you're not knowing where you want to go, feeling not in control. And that was the point where I was at, where I had gotten all the education, which I'm a proponent for education, which is why you all are here today, is, too. But that wasn't getting me where I wanted to be, the lifestyle I wanted to live. I had become a new father. I think my firstborn was maybe 1 or going on 2. We had another one coming on the way. And so I had to, again, lay down what I thought was the way to do things, which was, work hard, retire at some point. But I had seen people in the office. Like I literally seen people in the office just wasting away, hoping for that future that never came. And I did not want that for me. That was my biggest fear, having never tried, right? Never going out on a limb and then one day being stuck in the office and wishing that I could have done those things. And so that's what my life looked like before. It was miserable. And so once Jack came, I opened up, like I said, my mind, my heart to the possibility of this future life that I could have. And then we started putting in the work, right? We put in a lot of work. We dedicated nights, every night, just getting started to get to a point where we had the proficiency, we had the knowledge, we gained the confidence. You hear Jack talk about the compounding, of things. It's true. So the more work and effort you put in, you get better. It gets easier. You get more value from the work that you're putting in. And then you saw from the KPIs example, you're able to see, trends. You're able to see, in which ways you can really, add value to your business and maybe find ways where you can start to pull yourself out of the business, right? And give that to VAs and different, individuals to help you get to that lifestyle that you're looking for. And so after those efforts, right, now here I am today, having the ability to fulfill, my dreams, my mission, which is to give back to my community. The foundation was this program. The foundation allowed me to have the ability to, make income so money wasn't a problem. So now that money is not a problem, I can focus on giving back to my community. I can focus on giving back to my family. Whatever your why is, that's the thing that is going to help generate you, motivate you to get to that point so that you can make those things a reality. It doesn't simply just have to be a dream. You can start living it, but you definitely got to put in the work. And I'm just so thankful and happy that, Jack came, to that RIA, and I'm thankful that I listened. He's gonna tell you, he's being straight with you. He wants the millionaires. I see the success. I'm a coach in the program. That's my mantra too. I want each and every one of you who take part here with us to have that success, because I've seen what it can do. I've seen it in my own personal life. And so I'm excited to see, those that come on board, what you can do, because you can do it. Whatever limitations you think you have, you can do it. So
And Stephen
my life is great.
Yeah, Stephen is one of our head coaches now. He's the PTA president of his county. He gives back. He plays basketball. He coaches. I think you coach one of your kids basketball, or not yet, but soon.
Not yet. They're trying. Yeah, trying.
They're trying to get you to that. Imagine. I mean, like, he works 3 hours a day on his business, and the rest of the time he has time for the things he loves. And obviously he loves land, but now it's all love. Like, again, who would like to live that life? If you want to live that life, put in the words, and you're considering really, like, who is excited about this right now? If you are, put the word skip the line in, and then talk about our team already. Talk to our team about potentially working with us in shape or form, or just like how to get started. Right. With that said, guys, I want to thank Stephen for being co-host. All right. So again, can I get more offers accepted? Of course, Yanni, you can get more accepted by focusing on follow-up and also on marketing and doing different strategies. And we'll cover all of that as the week goes along. Yesterday was about laying the foundation. Today is about getting the deals. Tomorrow is about selling the deals. Thursday is about scaling this business and into larger deals, and also like some of these things, the follow-up systems and things like that. And then Friday is about automating the business. That's how we structured the entire week. So be there every single day. With that said, thank you very much. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and go out there. Live a life of abundance. Live a life of joy. Let this joy of this opportunity infect your entire day, and go out there, spread some love. See you tomorrow.